basically I have no family because of it. So I was in the Jehovah's Witness religion and I was thrown out for being with a girl that wasn't in it. And I got there and I ended up being with Michael Jackson's family.
Whoa!
And I was like, what's going on here? So I was just a body. I wasn't getting paid, or I was just a body sat there like all these like just jackos one by one coming in.
All the jackos.
Just me sat there like, what?
Welcome to the Steve Calis Show. I'm Steve Calis, and man, we've got an episode for you today. Giles Richards is a local mixed martial arts fighter and teacher. He's a businessman. He works in security doing close protection. He once worked for Michael Jackson's family, which the story he tells in this podcast is really cool. So before we jump into that, I just want to quickly say thank you to everybody who clicked the follow button and left us a review on Spotify. You guys are heroes to me. We're trying to get from being a small town podcast to a national podcast, and the only way we're going to do that is if people sort of help us out on Spotify by doing those things, and a lot of you did last time, and we're so grateful for you. One of the aspects of Giles' story that I was really interested in is he had told me before the podcast started that he had grown up in a religious family, and I didn't know that. His father was a Jehovah's Witness, which was fascinating. I don't know an awful lot about the religion. I didn't know that about Giles, so I was really keen to sort of get some more information on that and how that affected him. So without further ado, we're going to jump straight into the episode because I want to get straight to the meat. It's really good, it's really interesting, and I really hope you enjoy it.
When I was small, my dad wasn't religious at all. I think he had been a Jehovah's Witness.
Right.
And then he left the religion. I don't know what had happened, but he left. He had me and Ashley, my brother. And then at some point, I don't know when it was, me must have been, I don't know, small, primary school. He then went back to it. And it was like life-changing. Obviously, like I grew up, I can remember having maybe 1 or 2 Christmases, that's it.
Oh,
maybe 1 or 2 birthdays, that's it. But then all the way through school, we never had it.
Yeah,
because they're Jehovah's Witness, and there's no like Christmas, no birthday, no Halloween. There's no celebration of anything basically. But I didn't really know what the hell was going on.
Were you aware that you were missing out on something?
Yeah, I was really aware of it. Yeah, because obviously everyone would come and be like, "What did you get for this? What did you get for that?" And I was like, "What the fuck's going on here?" And then as I grew older, I was like, right, so this is what it is." But my mum, they had split, and my mum wasn't a Jehovah's Witness.
Right.
So I would visit her, but I was only able to visit her 3 times a year because she lived, I think, 3, 4, 5 hours away. So I lived with my dad full time, and I would see her only on like summer holidays, Christmas, and whatever the other main holiday is. And I'd go there, but she would give me a Christmas after Christmas. Right. So when I did go back to school, I could say, "Oh, I did get this and that," and I tried to like, pretty much, I probably lied all the way through, like, because it was quite embarrassing. Like as a kiddie, like you would just. Yeah. People knew, I'm sure, but yeah, it was well hard, to be honest. It was so strange.
Yeah, well, I remember in school when they would start doing like the prayers or whatever, and they'll sing the songs.
We'd get
certain
sent out.
Kids would have to get up and leave. Yeah, and you're one of those kids.
Yeah.
There
was 2 of us or 3 of us in the school, I think, that had it.
Yeah,
and we were sent out. Well, not sent out. We just wandered off, and then people would ask, and we'd be like, "Oh, we just got to do something."
Oh, right. So I suppose so that taught you from an early age to be quite guarded and
it was weird. Yeah, it was so strange. Yeah, and then getting older, so they're still in it now, like we touched on. But yeah, I was all the way through school. Yeah, it was pretty mad, to be honest. But it's so crazy. Like obviously, I wrote you an email and said like, basically, I have no family because of it. I had to choose between. So I got thrown out of it basically. So I was in the Jehovah's Witness religion, and I was thrown out for being with a girl that wasn't in it. I had to make a choice.
Oh shit, a little bit of Romeo and Juliet thing going on.
So the religion got rid of me, and in return my parents had to side with the religion. So because I got thrown out, and then you are sort of like disowned, my dad that I'd grown up with, that was it. I haven't spoke to him really I got married like over 10 years ago, I guess. Yeah, well over 10 years ago, and I haven't really spoke to him since. Like, he doesn't speak to me. I can say every so often like, "Hi, you're all right," and that'll be it. Right. He'll just tailor the message back to me coming back to the meetings with him. Yeah, so I do try actually. Like I genuinely miss him in that. But when he was younger, he was disfellowshipped. He was, I don't know if he removed himself or whatever. So he's actually been through it.
Right.
So he wasn't spoken to by his parents.
Oh,
so
I
he
see.
knows the feeling. So it just makes me think like,
Makes it worse, doesn't it?
yeah, I don't really get it. And I could never do that to my Riley and Phoebe. Like that just wouldn't happen. It wouldn't matter what they'd done.
Yeah.
100%. And I've got some relatives that have done time in prison and stuff like that, and they can all talk, you know, like, and I've never done things like that and ended up in prison, and I'm the one who's not been spoken to. It's crazy. It's such a crazy religion, to be honest. If you're not baptized in it, you could pretty much do what you want and everyone would welcome you in. But because when I was younger, I thought the way to make people happy around me, my family, like I was just a people pleaser.
Right.
I would just like get myself baptized, and I knew it would make my dad pumped and who he was with. So I did that. Like I had a terrible time growing up, like with who she was with. We got along, but we didn't really get along, and too long, mate. The story's too long. But so
wow. So there's but there's so many more like formative experiences to come. So now you meet this lady and you decide, actually I'd rather give it a shot at sort of normal life with this person.
Yeah.
And that must have been a real tough decision. And like props for you for doing that, even at a young age.
Yeah.
Part of you's gone, I've got an opportunity to carve something ordinary for myself. I want to give it a go. And so what happens then? So you meet this girl and then you like move in with her, do you? Or you find
No, I was with her, and it was I probably wasn't able to probably tell my family or anything about it, because it's just not what you'd have done if you was a Jehovah's Witness. They generally stay within themselves.
Yeah.
But because I'd been baptized, so what had happened was I used to write a diary, because I had quite a crazy little upbringing with who was looking after us, basically. So I used to write stuff down just to get me through it. And the diary got found by her, which was a nightmare.
Right.
So what was in the diary was just stuff that she had been doing to me, or how I'd felt about what she'd been doing, but also was in there about this girl saying, like, I love this person, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So they handed it into what they call the elders, which is like the hierarchy of like the group. And then they in turn called me in. I had to sit in a room like this with about 5 or 6 different people and my dad. Yeah. And they were like, listen, that's just not what we do, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, okay, like, didn't really understand it, to be honest, because I'd done it to literally make everybody happy. Like, so I wanted everybody around me to feel happy. Even the person that was causing me this drama that ended up writing a book about, my diary about. And then basically they had a little meeting. I had to wait outside, and then when I came back in, they were like, listen, we've made the decision to basically disfellowship you. Right. So that was literally, you get cut straight off from everybody. If you go back to the meetings, you have to sit at the back out of the way. Whoa. Nobody will talk to you. You can go from like 1 hour, everybody coming over, like chatting to you, going out and about, to like fully, like even to this day, they won't knock on my door. My door will have like a thing like, oh, that's Giles Richards, he's disfellowshipped.
Whoa.
Yeah, even now, like going about this craziness. Yeah, so then I was basically launched out. But because of me being kicked out, that's what caused my dad then he says, to do what he's had to do, sort of thing, and fully cut himself off from me. So yeah, then I was with this person just on my own. It was just mental. They came to our wedding, but we had to do the wedding based around them, because they can't go to a normal church because they're a Jehovah's Witness. Oh. So my partner at that time, I'm not with her now, we changed it based around what they would have wanted to do, and they came, but they were crap, to be honest. They turned up, and I didn't really ever see him since. Yeah. I think I've seen him once or twice since, and we were so close. Like it was just me, him, and my brother growing up.
Has that changed your relationship with your own kids? Because I know that you're very...
I'm just mad all about them. Yeah,
you're good with your babies, isn't you?
Yeah, that's it, and that's my whole thing.
Yeah, and I think in a way
he was good. My dad was meant with me up until then.
Yeah.
He was real good. I couldn't say anything bad about it growing up.
Yeah. That makes it worse, doesn't it?
Oh, it's just mental. It's absolutely crazy.
So as around this sort of time that then I guess you started getting into sort of martial arts, because you weren't allowed to train, is that right? Or you weren't allowed to do
so I was actually doing it before that. I was sneaking out. So I'd make out I was going to see somebody, and then somebody would like come and pick me up from around the corner at the bus stop.
So you're breaking all the Jehovah's Witnesses rules this time.
Cut. I'm good, really. Should have been thrown out way before. Can't stop. Yeah, so I used to like basically go up around the corner, and then they would come pick me up in a car, drive me to Sherborne, and I would just do a bit of training. And when I would go and see my mum, she knew this lad who was like a little black belt, and when I was tiny, I loved it. Like I loved thinking, oh my god, look at him in his little ninja kit and that with his black belt and that. And I used to wear his kit and stuff, and I would come home and it wasn't spoken about. You don't train, you don't do that, because they would see it as fighting, or even though it's not, like, it's amazing life skill for kids and that, like, unreal. Yeah, so I used to go out and do that. I did a bit of that, and then once I'd got removed from it all, my first job was pretty much my first proper job. I was working in a gym, like I said, in Weston-super-Mare, and I would just train on my own flat out, and people would see it, and they would be like, "Oh, can we do this?" And I'd start personal training people there, and then I was just self-taught.
Right.
That's how it started, basically. That was in Weston-super-Mare, and I moved over there. Yeah.
Right. And then you sort of got in with someone who was teaching or doing
So then I was living in a gym, basically. I was living in a hotel in a gym, being a personal trainer in there, and I was tennis coaching at the time, and then doing these one-to-ones with the kickboxing training. And then I started training with a good lad in Weston-super-Mare who got me some fights and stuff. This was only like probably around 17, 18, something around there. My missus would drive up, see me, go back home, and then I actually left that work and moved to a gym in Street. And then on my like resume, my hobbies were like martial arts, kickboxing, like street defense. I was well into it all, and when they read through it, they were like, "Yeah, we'd love you to be a personal trainer here, but we've noticed this kickboxing side of it. Like, would you like to start something in here? Like, we'll do it within the gym." So this was, I'd only been like, I reckon 18, something like that. So I was like, yeah, but I'm not really interested in doing it for anybody else. I sort of do my own thing. And then they were like, "Oh, well, we know a guy who's basically contacted us about you, and, you know, we've shown him your thing. He's a multi-millionaire and he wants to do this and that." And I was like, "No, it's not really for me." And then they were like, "Oh, well, if you meet him, you might want to do it." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Anyway, they set up a meeting. The bloke drove down in a Ferrari. Boom, that was it. I was sold straight away. And I was like, yeah. And then we started doing a bit of training, and then that's how it started. So we opened up a class in this gym in Street, and it just blew up mental. I maybe had 100 members in, I don't know, 100 members in a couple of weeks. You think they're all paying 40 odd quid a month, they were paying.
Nice.
I was 18. So it was doing around $4,000 a month, and I was doing, probably teaching for twice a week, 5 hours.
Yeah.
And personal training in the gym. It was mental.
Right.
Obviously I was paying, you know, I was a partner in it, sort of thing. So, and that's how the kickboxing came about, basically.
Right. And so how long after that before you sort of established your own, like?
So I was doing that, and I never wanted to do it for anybody else on under a franchise rule or anything like that. So I branched out and opened up one somewhere else, and then got talking to the guy with the franchise, and basically just said, like, I want to go off on my own. So I sold my part in Street. Yeah. I already had one. Actually, I'd already opened Yeovil, but I sold the one in Street, and then I just went doosh. Yeah. Then I opened Yeovil. I had Weymouth running, Chickrell running, Bournemouth, and then obviously I've carried it on now. Yeah. To this GR brand. Yeah. That's really. But we're friends. We're still friends.
Excellent. Yeah. So and how's it all sort of going now? Is because you also, so you've got that side of the business, and let me make sure that's still doing its thing. Yeah, lovely, and that's still doing its thing. Yeah, so you've got that side of the business, and you also do like close protection.
Yeah.
Right. So now I know you've been doing some really cool stuff with the close protection, and obviously you won't be able to say all of it because you've got sort of high profile clients and stuff. But what is that like? Like what have you been doing with close protection?
It's the most insane thing. When I was growing up, alongside like the kickboxing, I absolutely loved like security. I remember being really small and just for the first time seeing like doorman and that, and being like, "Oh, what the hell is this? It's well interesting." That didn't really interest me to do that. Obviously, it's my build, or that's not me. Right. Not really interested in standing there getting glassed.
Yeah.
For £15 an hour. Do you know what I mean? That don't really interest me. But the close protection side of it did. And I remember watching the film The Bodyguard. That was it.
Oh, yeah.
I was fully sold. I was only small, and I always wanted to do it along with this kickboxing. I always wanted to be a bodyguard, like for celebrities or something. It just interested me seeing their life, and that they needed somebody protecting them. It was always like so interesting. And then I was teaching, I remember, and somebody basically just rang me. Do you want me to go into this? About how I got into it?
Yeah, please, yeah.
So then I was literally teaching a class, and somebody messaged and said, "You need to take the next phone call. Like, we know you're interested in bodyguarding and stuff." I would only been like probably 19 now. Yeah. And then I was like, yeah, no worries, but I'm obviously teaching a class, so I'll take it in a bit. They were like, no, you need to take the phone call now. So I took the phone call. Somebody covered the class. I was in Weymouth, I think, and they were like, "Listen, like, we know you're interested in bodyguarding. Would you want to help out with a job we've got in London?" And I was like, yeah, like thinking, what the hell are they on about? Like, what the hell is this? Like, I was like, yeah, anyway, no worries. So I remember, I don't know when it was, like maybe a week or something later, they were just like, "We're going to come pick you up from your house, wear something smart, and we're going to drive you to the airport. You just need to help us out." Like, I didn't really know anything about it. And then it all happened. I got there and I ended up being with Michael Jackson's family.
Whoa.
And I was like, what's going on here? So I was just a body. I wasn't getting paid, or I was just a body sat there like, what the fuck? Like all these like just jackos one by one coming in.
All the jackos.
Just me sat there like, what? And then they would just tell it. We had like a bomber jacket on and that, and they would just like, just look after them basically, just make sure no one comes over. And it literally started from there. We drove them from Heathrow, I think we were at, down to a residence they had in Devon. So we drove them down there, and then that was literally the start of this chaos. And I ended up living with them for weeks and weeks and weeks. They got rid of the team that they had and took me on. But yeah, that's how it happened. So I went down there, I was looking after them, and then basically I remember one day the guy that they had as their main line of security didn't wake up or didn't get up in time for them to want to go off and do their thing. So I kept getting someone knocking on my hotel door saying, will you take the Jacksons out? And I was like, no way, like, hell, like, I've just got a little van outside, like, I don't even know what I'm doing, like, what? And then I'll be like, no, please just ring him, like, if he says it's okay, I don't mind coming. And it went on for like an hour, and then they couldn't get over me. I just thought, you know what, this is probably my one shot at like whatever. So they knocked on my door, I think it was Michael's mum, and then I literally put them in my van. I had an alright van, and I drove them from like Devon all the way back to Stonehenge. So I had like Michael's mum in the car, like three of the brothers I had in there, minus Michael I didn't have in there. I had a couple of Tito's sons, and I had a model in there and a PA. So we had 3 rows of seats.
Oh, fucking hell, that's
and it was just me. So then we got down to like Stonehenge. I showed them that, and then they were like, "Oh, we want to like, is there any shops around here?" And obviously, like the shops that we got compared to America are shit.
Right.
I was like, "No," basically, and they were like, "Oh, well, there's a mall I can see on my phone. There's a mall around it," and I think it was Cribs Causeway. So we're like, "Can we go Cribs Causeway?" But then we started getting real friendly, and they would like stitch me up. Imagine me with all these Jacksons going into HMV buying a Michael Jackson CD. They stitched me up on purpose. They bought like the CD, and then obviously everyone in there was like, are you? And it just went off from there really. And then I was getting phone calls from the guys that were supposed to be picking them up, like, bring them back, like, what the fuck?
Oh shit.
And then the Jacksons behind me, I think the mum overheard it and was like, tell him, whoever that is, that we'll meet him on the way home. So we met him on the way home. Yeah. And then basically they were fuming. They were telling the Jacksons were like, you better apologise to Giles. He has basically saved your ass. And if you don't apologise, we won't be doing anything with you.
Right.
And it just turned from like me living in a hotel with them, in the hotel because they had a residence with a team, from them getting me out of the hotel, and I moved in with them. And that was it then. They stopped all like dealings with what they were doing with these guys, and then I was the one doing all the runs and taking them here and there and back up to the airport, picking them back up again, and driving. It was mad, absolutely mad. I took them to my mum's house. They rang up. They come in the room one day. I remember like Tito Jackson was on the balcony asking me if I wanted like breakfast and that for me. He was making steak on the balcony and that. Like it was crazy. Like, looking back now at like 19, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, and somebody was covering my classes. I didn't tell anybody I was doing it. I kept it all quiet because I didn't want it to I didn't want to ruin what was going on maybe. Yeah. And I remember one day they were just, I think Michael's mum was like, can you show us where you live? And I was like, Jesus, it's like another 2 hours back again. They were like, yeah, like we've got nothing to do. So I literally rang my mum. You know, we weren't even that close. I rang mum. They were like, they just want to know. She had a nice house basically, and I thought, let's go to this one. Right. She had a bit of a gaff, gated and all that. So I was like, we'll go there. So I remember just ringing my mum, and she was like, what? I was like,
that's a strange phone call to get.
I'm with Michael's mum, Michael Jackson. Yeah, all right, Charles, you twat, see you in a bit. Yeah, and then I was like, listen, if you call one paper, I won't talk to you. If you ring anybody, if you tell any friends, if you do anything, like, because I had to sign a waiver about all of it anyway, and you know, like, so don't do anything. If I turn up there and there's one car there, like, I don't know, we're going back. She was like, no worries. So we rocked up, shut the gates and that, and I remember this bodyguard that they had from America, their main bodyguard, just saying, oh, is there like bears in the woods? Like, can we get out? I'm worried about letting like Mrs. Jackson out. Like, is there bears in it? I was like, no, mate. Like, there's only foxes and stuff here. And he was like, oh no, what's a fox? I was like, hey, just a little red thing, like, chill, brother. And then so we went in there, and then I literally sat down. It was craziness. So I had a few of the Jacksons there, me and my mum. And then I remember they asked my mum basically I think they wanted to do it for this reason. They asked my mum if they could take me on full time. And they were like, can he come back to America? Like, we want him. Like, he's looked after us. He's driven us everywhere. Like, we've had some issues over here. Like, he sorted the dramas and that, can we take him back? And I remember saying like, oh, just ask me, like, we're not actually that close, like.
Right.
And that's that literally how it come about. So I would have moved over there. I didn't in the end because things changed, but.
Yeah.
And that's how it all started, mate.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So let's go to just so you do the sort of close protection thing. You can get really into that, and then your sort of schools, your academy. Is it academies here?
Yeah.
They start to sort of really take off.
Yeah.
How many do you have now?
7 or 8 now. I'll have 10 by the end of the year.
Wow, cool. So do you? Is it a case of like, I always wondered with you, do you like say set up one, and then after a while you can see, that kid's really good. He can also teach. And
it's so hard, man.
Yeah.
That is the hardest thing about it, and anyone will tell you there's the same thing. To find an instructor, you got to find someone who's like good with people, good with parents, good with kiddies, good at business, good at signing people up. Yeah, they've got to be able to. Good at retention, good at joining new ones, good at like putting the word out that we got a club. So it's so hard. It's such a niche, to be honest.
Yeah, but I find that really interesting. Like just to dive into sort of business sort of side.
Yeah, business. That's where I love it.
Yeah. But I just think I think it's really cool. I think, and like I've said to you twice now. I'll say for the sake of the podcast. I love business, and I love reading about great business leaders. It's one of my sort of passions and hobbies. I put out away from this, and you'll know this sort of the theme that runs throughout all these successful people like Steve Jobs or Richard Branson, whoever it is. There's always some kind of initial thing. There's always some kind of thing where they've built themselves back up from being having some kind of disadvantage, and then they become this sort of titan sort of thing. Yeah, and that's sort of what you started doing as well, because now you've got this sort of.
We had nothing growing up. That's why I'm like this.
Right, and now
I don't have anything at all.
And then, so I suppose when you spend time with your kids, because it's like me with my son, you go, man, I don't want you to have nothing. You got to have something. But even if it's like with my son, I go, well, you're much safer, you're much more loved than I was. So at least you've given that. But for me, my greed, I'm greedy for him. Yeah. It would be nice if he didn't have to struggle for anything. Yeah. I know you're very much the same with your kids. Is that bad because of you?
Yeah, 100% because of my upbringing. I think when my dad was very young, he had a lot of money.
Yeah.
But he sold his properties in London, moved down here, and he bought a farm, but the farm got hit with, remember, mad cow disease back in the day? And he lost everything he ever had. Everything he had made since before we were born was all gone. All his properties and all his money was gone. He started again, but we had nothing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like I really knew it was nothing until growing up. I was like, shit, we had nothing at all. Same school shoes, same shit. Like, I had nothing at all. And the minute I knew about business, that was it. I was hooked, and I'm just absolutely obsessed with it, to be honest. Like, just for the thought of the kid, can't stand the thought of people not having something. That's why I like to do this Christmas thing or whatever it is. But with my kiddies, Jesus, I just fear that they're going to be in it. Like, my biggest fear is that having nothing for the kiddies, for sure.
Yeah, and we're the same there. Mine was different in that I had years of homelessness. I was the annoying guy in the street that needed change. I was like that. I was that fucked. And so my thing with my son was like in London, Paris, and just outside of Taunton.
How the fuck did you end up back in Yeovil from Barry?
Yeah, well, I went over there travelling initially, and I thought, do you know what? Because I found this website where you volunteer. So they say, we can't pay you, but we give you food and accommodation if you just make your way over to us. So I did that for years. And then I made some very poor decisions whilst I was over there. and it ended up in really
this bad. Has gone tits up. Now I'm going to need someone to travel over and help my ass.
Yes, And that's I eventually managed to get away, but managed to get back hold of my mum eventually and managed to come back over. And then I got into, I had a drug problem and everything. And so I didn't want anyone to know. So I was essentially just living on the street, scraping beans. It was really, really grim. But the lesson from that is...
Yeah, when I said nothing then...
But mine wasn't sort of done to me. I did mine myself. Mine was all self. It was being stupid, being bad-tempered, making shit decisions, and then slowly building something back.
Fair play.
But the point of that was to say that I'm totally the same with my son. Like the thought of him
being on the street.
Oh man, it fills me with actual fear and dread. So everything I do is, man, the podcast has got to work.
Yeah, because that's exactly the same with my classes. 100%. Like, it's all about the kiddies, not really about yourself. Like, just think, you all learn, don't you, from like what you've had growing up. oh, my parents did this, like, that bit was good, I'll try and do that bit, but this bit was shit and we had nothing. So my way of like getting around that is to try and be good with business and push and push and push. I never stop pushing all the time, every day.
Yeah, and that's really admirable. That's the sort of thing that I really respect, and I really enjoy reading about in other people. This sort of rags to riches thing that people have going on, I think is really, really cool.
Yeah, me too. That's my thing. That's what I love, watching all that sort of stuff. It's just so inspiring. Like,
So who are you now? Like, what is all these different versions of yourself, all these sort of things that you've been through? Who are you today? I mean, are you a much more happier and contented version of yourself? Have you found some kind of peace, or is there still part of you going, no, there's still more to do?
Definitely no peace, man.
No peace? Still pushing on?
Yeah, I don't even know what I am. Yeah, obviously I do the close protection. I love that. I'm away quite a lot.
So you're still doing that then a lot, though? The close protection
loads,
stuff? Yeah.
So I turn down what I can't. I turn down what I can't do, basically, because I don't want to be away from the kiddies.
Right.
Like, the kids love what I do, but they're like, oh no, especially Phoebe will be like, no, like, please don't. So I don't. So I took all of May off of it. But I generally go away every single month. I'm normally in America or around Europe. I'm going Canada next month, Costa Rica the following month, and then September I'll do all of Europe pretty much. Yeah, with different various clients. Yeah. Wow. And then obviously I've got the classes when I come back, and I do obviously seminars with the street defence.
Right. And
stuff as well.
You were writing for a magazine at one point.
Yeah, so then, I got picked up because I was obviously running these classes, I was doing some fights, and so maybe I was doing well or whatever by somebody's thingy, and then they reached out to me and said, would you write for this magazine? Sent me a magazine, and it was the biggest magazine in the UK for it, so I was like, I'm all about this shit. So they give me 4 pages every single month, and I could do anything I wanted, and they would send me like places, if we send you here, will you do a write-up on that? It doesn't matter if you fucking hate it. Put it in there, what you don't like, send it up here with some pictures. Wicked. And we'll do it all for you. I did that for like a year, which got my name out there even bigger and better. So I was then offered more seminars. I did things in Headley Court where the amputees are from that, like Marines or all the forces come back to. It's like a very secretive place. I was like having people flown in to meet me for street defence that were working on oil rigs that are having their, there was a very high risk of them getting taken hostage. They'd send me out to like a place, give me a load of flipping Land Rovers and guns, set up a thing for them and run through stuff like that. I was going to Valencia and like training with a guy who trains like Liam Neeson, Tom Cruise, Top Gun stuff, like did all the filming for all that. Yeah. So then I went over there, I was spending time with this guy who was an absolute animal, most crazy bloke you've ever met. Short little, my God, like so dangerous, unbelievable. But he had done a bit of stuff. This is going back along, and then we just become friends, and that opened up more doors. And then I came back, and I had this license then to teach a certain set of street defence. I was one of 2 or 3 in the country to be able to do it, and it just opened up more and more doors. And then people are like, he's done it with this. He's looked after Jacko, and it just grew from there, basically. Yeah.
So do you put a lot of this down to hard work? It's not like a lot of it isn't like you haven't lucked into these things. No. You know what I mean? There's people who grafted. Got it in and went and got it for
yourself. And I just took every like opportunity I was given. Like I'm shy, I'm real shy, and like things worry me. As a kid, I was good at sports and stuff, but I think I wrote you in the email and said like I would blag it and make out I was ill. I was offered like trials in like cricket for Somerset, and I was offered good things for tennis, like football, like athletics. I could run, like I was winning like these little cross country things, and then I'd get so nervous on the way to wherever we were going. I'd tell my dad I'm sick, and he would never be like, no, like go on, just try it. And looking back now, I just think, fucking hell.
What, you wish that you'd been pushed a little bit more?
Oh yeah, I always wish it, and I'm so like it with the kiddies. I don't try and go too far with my 2, but that's one thing I learned that like I didn't get as a kid. I knew I was good at certain things, but I was never pushed into it. And if somebody had just been like, come on, I'll help you, like I'll sit with you, and especially at cricket and stuff, I was good with cricket. Got off for trials for county cricket and stuff, and I would go like be pumped about going, then make out I was fucking ill. I wasn't ill. I was just so nervous, I just couldn't do it, and I was offered decent things with schools, and I just couldn't do it. Like I'd no back and no one behind me helping me going on, because they was into religion. That wasn't like what it was about. Like they were on about like go and knock on more people's doors. Like that was what they wanted to do. I wasn't pushed. My mum would ring me up from wherever she was, like say, how's your homework and stuff like that. And they would probably have pushed me into the sports, but they lived too far away that they were doing their own fucking thing as well. So
yeah.
So that's why I'm so driven now, probably.
Gotcha. Because you've got to be self-motivated.
Yeah, with the tennis, I'm back on the tennis and shit now, and I just.
Did you say there was at one point there was an injury, and that's what stopped you from doing a lot of this?
Yeah, so there's a lad in Yeovil. Yeah, I was at school with a kid called Neil Bennett, who from round here, isn't he? Yeovil lad, and we were playing tennis at like break time or something. I think we had played a game. And I don't know what had happened, but he picked the ball up and hit it at me.
Yeah.
I don't think he was even aiming it for me, but it hit me in the eye and it split my pupil in half. And I didn't even know.
Jesus.
I was just like, fucking hell, what's wrong with me eye? Like that. And I remember this lad picked me up and he ran me to the nurse's office in Preston. And she was like, yeah, you need to go like hospital now. So they rang my dad, come and got me, but none of us thought it was serious. I just went home, started chilling out at home. And then Dorchester Hospital rang and said, like, seriously, like, you got to get him up here now. Like, his eye's splitting. From what we've been told or whatever. So anyway, they drove me up there and then I didn't leave the hospital for fucking weeks. I was on my back, I wasn't allowed to move. And they'd give me eye drops like every 2 hours through the day, through the night. Because my pupil, and I'd been offered trials before this. So I was already doing county cricket. And the minute I'd left the hospital, obviously I got dropped from the trials and that's pushed me back even more. So then when it come back round to getting offered things again, I just couldn't. I was too nervous. I was,
Fucking Neil Bennett.
Yeah. He's Sam, I wonder if he watches. That's so funny. Wonder if he even knows.
Yeah, that is funny. But I suppose that again, it's like it's so important. I find when we become adults that we go, right,
this could have happened.
Yeah, but it's best not to regret this thing. Instead, to try. It's a cliche, but to extract the lesson.
Yeah.
You go, well, do you want, without that, I might not have learned this. Or might not have gone this
no, that's what I always think. No, because I
Yeah.
wouldn't have done this. I would have said I'd have done something in that profession.
Yeah.
In whatever the sport was.
Yeah.
But I always wanted the bodyguarding thing. It was always overriding, and so was the kickboxing or whatever the martial art was, MMA.
Sure, and it's like the fact that you had to be self-motivated, for better or worse, is important. And I always think of my son, because I'm very gentle with him, you know what I mean? And I worry at some point
he's going to be a gentle.
Yeah, because he's so
madness out there, man.
Yeah, because our upbringing was not our childhood was good, but my teenage years were really tough, and that sort of toughened me up a little bit around that time. But I remember
now you're an animal.
No, fat tired potato, but we're getting stuff done. And I remember this quote from Mike Tyson where he was talking about his son wanted to get into boxing.
Yeah.
And he said he told him basically don't do it because I grew up to be a killer. I grew up in a tough environment. You've done nothing but love and money your whole life. And I look at my son and I go, man, he's got everything he needs. And the world is fucking terrifying. Yeah,
the world's nuts, but he's got love.
Yeah, but how do I teach him? I keep all I think about.
Tell you
all the
what,
time.
mate, let's just sign him up at my class. Let's go.
Yeah, he will. Yeah, but we talked about that yesterday, me and my partner, because we want him to have martial arts as a regular thing in his life. So he doesn't really think about it. It's just a natural thing that he has. Because you go, man, what if there's another pandemic or war or people are just going to get more violent, and you go, how on earth, as a father, are you supposed to teach your son?
Mate, all the kids that come in with these stories and the parents that ring me or will be like, oh, my daughter's, someone's tried to touch her at school, or like, I've had the maddest stuff, like, from people in Yeovil and all the other towns, but especially around here, because obviously people know that I've got the gym here, so people will ring me and be like, you're right. I've had people like come out of school, won't go back to school until they've done bits for me, like a little bit of on self-defense, street defense, but confidence building. And that they won't go back until they've done a little bit. I've done loads of them. That's so many.
It must be horrible, because I suppose if you're like 11, 12, 13 years old, or even a little bit older, the whole world, if you're on social media, the whole world's telling you, well, your life's not as good as mine.
Yeah.
I mean, look what I've got. Look what I'm able to do. Look how beautiful I am. Look how beautiful you're not. So you've got like this self-identity crisis. And then you've got people in school, because schools won't change. Schools will always have bullies and dickheads and people that make it sort of tough for you. And that's why I think it's really important to say you've got to be able to defend yourself and protect yourself, but also to defend and protect other people. I mean, that's why
I think it's like teaching them to really not be the bully, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have kiddies that have done the bullying.
Right.
And I'll try and break them back down and be like, brother, this is what it's like look at what you're doing, you know what I mean? You've got to break it down there and at the other end where you're being bullied.
Yeah.
I remember once, you remember the girl who was she raped and murdered by a policewoman?
Right.
So somebody reached out to me and said, will you do like a seminar for people in the UK or whatever it was? I can't remember. And I remember putting a post on this thing saying like, this is fucking crazy. Like, I would do basically a free seminar for any women, But I just got bombarded with loads of people were loving it, but a lot of people were just like, nah, you're just trying to make money off it. Even though it was a free thingy and we're supposed to be teaching the parents to bring up decent kids. Like, we don't fucking need to be like being aware of this. We should be able to go out and like walk down the street. But yeah, you should be able to do that, but that's not fucking reality, love. Like, you're not going to be able to do that. Yeah. So just having something about you, just a bit of confidence about you, that's all really I'm trying to instill.
Yeah, and that's really important. And I think with kids as well, like I always joke with Misha, I go, what if we give him all this love, all this attention, give him all these opportunities, he turns out to be a fucking serial killer, I'd be gutted. I mean, you could fucking out, what are you murdering people for?
I fucking loved you, man.
You hope.
Fucking hell, what Giles been teaching you? For fuck's sake, Giles, come off that fucking podcast.
You worry that he's going to meet some like fucking dickheads in school, and then you go, you can't protect that.
Oh,
you can't, And
I've had drama with my two coming back saying little things. Phoebe's 9, she'll come back all upset because somebody says something. Riley's had the same, he's 12 at Stanchester. Then it ended up getting a bit weird at Stanchester. Like, I emailed the school and said, I'm Giles, I run classes and that. Like, I'd love to come in and help the school out if you've got a mad problem with bullying. Like, and the bloody head teacher rang me straight at me. He was like, oh my God, like, please come and help. Like, I'm new in here, but I've heard about the problem. So I was going in there doing like PE lessons for the whole school, or for Riley's year, basically. Yeah. But I mainly done it for pretty much what you're saying about your kid. I mainly did it so that everybody would know, oh, this is Riley's dad. Like, he's got this thingy. Like, we'll leave. Oh, Riley's obviously training. I wanted people just to think, oh, just leave him alone. There's nowhere to like watch something and see like, oh, this is how you be a parent. Yeah. You can't look at your parents and think, oh, that's how it. You can't look at somebody else.
Bad idea.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just not how it works. You've got to like take bits from everything, but we'll all fuck up. Like, we're all fucking up all the time. We think we've done a good job, but
what's it like having how old was your boy? Did you say
12 and 9?
So all right. So how
and then my missus has got a little one. She's 10, so I've got a 9, 10, and a 12.
Oh wow! So what's it like having a 12-year-old? Say right on the cusp of.
He's mint, to be honest. He just wants to do everything I do. Right. So if I race motocross, he's doing motocross. Now he's got a bike. If I'm training, he's coming training. He wants to be a teacher. If I go away bodyguard and I come back, he wants to be a bodyguard. My daughter's exactly the same. Yeah. And now I got back into tennis. He started playing tennis. But he's all right. I think at school he's struggling at school and stuff, but at the moment he's all right. Yeah.
And that's something with my own son where I see he's watching everything I do. Yeah. He's watching everything. So I have to make sure, like... Yeah. And I was setting a good example. Yeah, he's setting a good example. And I remember like one of his first words was, bollocks. Bollocks, yeah.
Is that anything?
Bollocks. I was like, that's just 3 or 4 syllables. Fucking use a simpler word.
Well done. High five.
Great work. He watches everything. Like, he walks how I walk with his arms.
I've seen it. I've seen that picture the other day. It's fucking brilliant.
And so that's why like I'm real affectionate with his mother in front of him. Yeah. So he knows, it's okay for him to be affectionate.
Yeah, that's good.
But it's scary, that sort of thing.
Oh, they just pick up everything. Yeah. And they say things you think, shit, did I? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, like it works. He'll say something like, or accidentally swear. Yeah. And Misha, my fiance, will go, "Where the hell did you learn that?" And I go, "I don't know.
Not me.
Where did it come from?"
Definitely
must be the TV. I don't know. What's he watching?
Yeah, that's it.
But it's amazing. But I can see that your previous experiences have benefited your kids.
Yeah, 100%.
And ultimately that's all it is. Yeah. One day we'll just be the ghosts of memories for them.
Yeah, 100%.
And hope they've done a good job for them. You know what I mean?
Hopefully. Maybe not. Like, hopefully.
Is there anything else you want to cover?
We'd be here for weeks if we were going to go into detail about certain things. So ask what you want, stop when you want.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll break into a part 2 one day.
Yeah, no worries.
We'll do a regular. Every 6 months we'll catch up, see how you're doing, see how business is doing.
Yeah, I've got a new business at the moment. I'm starting a new online martial arts as well. So basically, people will be able to sign up. So think of the amount of people that would be petrified to go into a class. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Yeah.
So the market's far bigger. Yeah. So I'm doing an online thing. I'm filming for it every day right now, martial arts.
Getting all the content ready for it.
Yeah, so then I've got someone building the website, and basically you'll be able to go on there, pay for the month, and you'll get 4 weeks worth of videos, exactly as if you was going to come into a class. Right. So day 1, I'm talking to you as if you're in the class. Yeah. But obviously, as like people that can't get to the class, can't afford a normal class, I've tried to do it as cheap as possible. Yeah. Like, lads that is autistic, male and female autistic, never would step into a class. Yeah. People maybe that are disabled, anything. Yeah. Young kids, older kids.
Good idea.
So I'm trying to do that, and plus obviously you can market it to the world. Yeah. One video that you make, you can obviously just keep. So that's my thing at the moment, that with the classes. Yeah. So we'll see how that's going.
Yeah, well, and let us know when it's all up and ready to go, and we'll share the website.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So, but I must want to say to you, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. I mean, you're a good fella, and it's also nice to know that someone like you is out there, you know, with the knowledge and with the skills. So if eventually when my son gets a little bit older, I can say, okay, I'll forget Giles now. Yeah.
Give it a Giles, yeah.
Yeah, because I think that's really comforting. Because like I said, it's scary out there. I haven't got the tool. I can teach him how to think and how to love.
Sing. You can teach him how to sing.
Oh, he's gonna.
Brother, I remember saying to you, like, if I'm going to come on this podcast for you, you've got to do a song.
Oh, Christ!
You can fucking. Remember, I walked into that pub the other day when I don't know how. Was that,
Cooper's.
what were you doing? Karaoke or something?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Fucking hell! I remember being like, the fuck?
Oh yeah.
You can actually really sing, like, mad.
Yeah, we got. There's a few songs on my karaoke repertoire. That I'm trying to put out there.
What were you even singing?
You came in as I was belting out. Elton John, Kind of Feel Love Tonight.
Fuck me, he was belting this out, man. A lady I was looking after, actually, she's just been to, so a lady I bodyguard, she's just done Elton John's, you know, they do not the BAFTAs, the...
What, the music one?
Yeah, whatever it is. She went to his party the other day, actually.
Oh, so I fucking love Elton John. That's so cool.
Oh, I can't even probably go into it, but yeah.
Well, I recently wrote Elton John a letter. Like, I've been...
Right, give it to me, I'll give it to her to give it to him.
Oh, yeah, that'll be handy. Because honestly, I've written maybe 100 letters recently to celebrities and famous.
Oh, good, it will get you somewhere you will move in.
Yeah, and I've got my tactic is essentially just to try and... Because one big celebrity name will be just a game changer, and then they've got our whole back catalogue.
Brother, we maybe need to talk, because I know some people.
Oh, yeah, you're connected in the world.
Yeah.
Well, because anyone, like I've said, I'll show you in a minute, out there's a big, like, Christmas wrap present, but that's going to Ricky Gervais, because I used to listen to his old podcasts.
Yeah. Me and my mate love him, Ricky.
Yeah, he's the best.
The boy.
And he's like, his podcast from 20 years ago is still out there, and I still listen to it. And he used to mention a lot this toy that he loved when he was a kid. And I managed to find one on eBay. It's really from the 70s. These like Beyblade looking thing, like spinning top things. And so I managed to find some on eBay. I've wrapped it up. To send to him with a letter saying...
Yeah, you only need one.
Yeah.
I know it's Peter Andre's was in town, wasn't he? I didn't even know this, but I've done some close protection work with Peter Andre when I had the Jacksons. He was with us. He was here yesterday.
That's a random collection of human beings, isn't it? That's cool. Yeah. I fucking love Peter Andre as well.
Yeah, he was literally like, we were at a meal and he wanted to come, so he got in contact with somebody and was like, listen, can I meet him? Yeah. He was absolutely obsessed with him. Obviously, like everybody was, like,
sure.
You know, Michael was still alive when I first had him, so he was mad for it.
Yeah.
You know, like,
so cool,
everybody follows off what Jackos did, what Michael did, didn't he? Yeah, and that's how I met him, and then I ended up looking after, like, I had Katie Price.
Oh, wow.
And then I started getting into Alex, you know, I started meeting up with Alex Reid.
Oh, that's right, you know him, don't you, Alex Reid?
Yeah, so then, in the end now, I didn't get paid to look after him, and he didn't, you know, charge me to come down to my classes. Now we're real good mates. Cool. But he came down and actually opened the Oval Gym. Because I was actually looking after him at the time. We had just opened up a club, I think, in Torquay or something, and they asked me to go down and just, like, mind him or whatever. And then, in return, he came down to my gym here, and he opened it up.
Yeah, that's really cool.
What life.
Yeah, man. What a look. And so I wouldn't take up much more of your time, because I think we leave people wanting a little bit more, and then we can always do another one down the road. So I just want to say thanks again, man. Really appreciate you doing this. It's a real pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, and you, mate.